right, so welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive with us.
Yeah.
This time around, we're taking a look at the game Days Gone.
Okay.
And, you know, maybe you've played this one before, maybe you're thinking about giving it another go, or maybe you've heard the buzz and you're like, is it really worth it? Or is it as good as people are saying it is now?
Right.
And that's kind of what makes this one so interesting.
Yeah.
Because looking at all these articles that we have here,
Yeah.
reviews and different articles about it, there are a lot of opinions.
Oh, yeah.
And some people really, really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were not so hot on it when it came out.
Right.
So that makes for a very interesting dynamic to dive into.
It makes you wonder, what is it about this game that gets people going like that?
Yeah, and one of the things that we noticed right off the bat,
Okay.
looking at all this material,
Yeah.
is that Days Gone has this interesting approach to resources in the game.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not talking, unlimited ammo, kind of run and gun and just constantly, have everything you could possibly need.
Yeah, you're not going to be like an action hero mowing down zombies left and right.
Right, exactly.
You really have to think about what you have and when you use it.
Yeah, and even things like fuel for your bike.
Oh, yeah. Your bike is essential.
Like, this is a big part of the game.
Huge part of the game. And keeping it running is not always easy.
Right, you're constantly having to scavenge for parts, make sure you've got gas.
Exactly. And that makes every decision you make have weight.
It's almost like you're budgeting.
Yes.
Yes.
It is like budgeting your resources carefully, or you could be in big trouble.
Exactly. Like if you just blow all your ammo in one encounter,
Right.
you're going to be in trouble later.
Absolutely.
When you really need it.
It adds this layer of tension to the entire game.
Right.
You're always kind of on edge thinking, okay, do I have enough to make it through this next area?
Yeah. Do I risk going in here?
Exactly.
Or do I try and sneak around?
Oh, right.
That kind of thing.
Because every bullet counts, every scrap of fuel.
And that seems to tie into this bigger element of
Yeah.
the game's world.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the articles mention that the world is just beautiful.
Oh, it's stunning.
And this seems to be a pretty common thing that people say
For sure.
about the game.
The environments in Days Gone are incredible.
Yeah.
You've got these dense forests, winding mountain roads, abandoned towns that are really eerie to explore.
Yeah. And it seems like this plays into that resource management part that we were talking about.
Absolutely.
Because you have to go out and explore to find stuff.
You're constantly scavenging for supplies, ammo, fuel parts, for your bike medicine.
And so the world kind of forces you
Yeah,
to engage with that survival element
exactly.
more.
You can't just hunker down in one place and wait for things to get better.
Right.
You have to keep moving, keep exploring, keep pushing forward.
Which is interesting because a lot of games kind of reward you for that.
Right.
For going out and exploring.
Yeah, like you get better gear or you find cool secrets.
Right.
But in Days Gone, it's almost like a necessity.
Yeah, it's not even like a reward.
Yeah, you need to explore just to survive.
Yeah, just to stay alive, basically.
Exactly.
And then, you've got this world that people seem to love the look of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then this need to go out and find things to stay alive.
Which makes the world feel even more alive.
Right, because you're like interacting with it on this very real level.
Yeah, you're not just passing through, you're living in it.
Right. You're having to pay attention to your surroundings.
They're always on the lookout for danger, for resources, for anything that can help you survive.
But it's interesting because we've talked about all this stuff, all these elements of the game that seem to be pretty well received. But the game itself wasn't exactly a hit when it first came out.
It definitely had a bit of a rough launch.
Yeah, looking back at these reviews, from back when it launched,
Yeah.
there was a lot of talk about technical issues.
Oh, yeah, there were bugs, performance problems, things like that.
Yeah, and that definitely seems to have colored people's perceptions of it.
Yeah. It's hard to enjoy a game when it's not running smoothly.
Right.
And those technical issues definitely held Days Gone back at first.
And I remember reading some reviews where people weren't really sold on Deacon St. John.
Oh, yeah, the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deacon was a bit of a mixed bag for some people.
Yeah, some people thought he was kind of a cliche, the gruff biker dude.
Right, the stereotypical tough guy with a heart of gold.
Right, but then other people really seemed to connect with him.
Yeah, some players found him really relatable and compelling.
What about you? What did you think of Deacon?
I think he grew on me.
Yeah.
At first, I wasn't sure what to make of him.
Right.
But as the game went on and you learn more about his backstory, his motivations, his relationship with Sarah,
Yeah.
I started to appreciate his complexity.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more to him
Yeah.
than meets the eye.
He's got this tough exterior, but underneath, he's vulnerable and struggling with loss and grief.
Right.
And I think that depth is something that resonates with people.
And that's kind of the fascinating thing about this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Because Days Gone had this kind of rocky start,
Mm-hmm.
but it's seen this like resurgence
Oh, yeah.
in popularity.
People are rediscovering it, singing its praises.
Yeah, they're going back and playing it now and saying, you know what, this is actually a really good game.
Yeah.
What do you think is driving that?
Well, I think a big part of it is that a lot of the technical issues have been fixed.
Right, they patched it.
Yeah, they released updates and patches that addressed a lot of the bugs and performance problems.
So it's a smoother experience now?
Much smoother. So
Yeah.
players coming to it now are getting a better representation of what the game is actually like.
Right, because it's hard to get into a game
Yeah.
when it's constantly crashing or the frame rate's dropping.
It
You're kind of pulled out of the experience.
breaks the immersion. And I think word of mouth has played a big role too.
Oh, yeah.
As more people played the game and enjoyed it,
Mhm.
they told their friends, they streamed it online.
Yeah.
And that generated buzz and got other people curious.
And it seems like it's found a particularly strong audience among fans of the survival horror genre,
Oh, absolutely.
which makes sense.
Yeah, the game's got this really intense atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
The constant threat of the freakers, these hordes of zombies that can swarm you at any moment,
Right.
keeps you on your toes.
It's like the game never really lets up.
Right, you're always on edge, always looking over your shoulder.
So would you say Days Gone is a hidden gem
That's a tough one.
or a flawed masterpiece?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
It's definitely not perfect.
Right.
It has its flaws,
Yeah.
but it's also a really ambitious game. It
Mm.
tries to do a lot of things differently, and it creates this unique experience.
Right, and it seems like those things that it does differently
Yeah.
are the things that people are really responding to.
The resource management, the open world, the focus on survival, the freakers themselves.
Right, it's not just another zombie game,
It's got its own identity, its own flavor.
and it makes you work for it.
Oh, yeah. It's not an easy game.
But it sounds like the rewards are there if you're willing to put in the effort.
For sure, the feeling of overcoming a tough encounter, of surviving against the odds,
Yeah.
that's something special.
And I think that brings us to a question for all of you listening out there.
Yeah.
How much do you value challenge in a game?
Right. Do you like games that push you to your limits?
Do you like that feeling of having to struggle?
That sense of accomplishment when you overcome a difficult obstacle?
Or do you prefer a more power fantasy?
Yeah, where you're the unstoppable hero.
Where you can just kind of mow through everything?
Yeah, just blast your way through.
What kind of experience are you looking for in a game?
We'd love to hear your thoughts on Days Gone and on this whole idea of challenge and resource management in games.
Yeah, let us know your experiences down in the comments below.
And maybe if you haven't given Days Gone a try yet,
Yeah?
maybe this deep dive has convinced you to give it a shot,
Absolutely.
especially if you like a good challenge.
And especially if you love a good
Yeah,
zombie game.
zombie apocalypse setting.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.